Welcome to Finding Holiness, where we delve into timeless Torah wisdom, revealing the sacred in everyday moments. Join us on a journey to elevate your spirituality and discover holiness in every aspect of life. I'm your host, Rabbi David Kadosh, and together, let's embark on a path of spiritual exploration. I hope you enjoy this next episode. Erev Tov, everybody. Welcome to another edition of our Wednesday night Back to Basics Shiur. Happy you can join us after a small hiatus. One small announcement. There will be no Shiur for next week and the week after that due to prior engagements. And of course, Chanukah will be in a couple of weeks. So we will resume Back to Basics after Chanukah, the week after Chanukah. We'll continue where we leave off tonight, Bezrat Hashem. For those coming online, you can open the chat and you can find the link to what we are studying first, and as well the Shulhan Aruch to what we're going to be studying after the Chumash. We are on Perek Bet, the second chapter in Sefer Bereshit, still in Parashat Bereshit, Pasuk Tet Vav. We have discussed the beginning of Perek Bet was how the second recounting of HaKadosh Baruch Hu creating Adam Harishon, and now he is placing him in Gan Eden. We will conclude Perek Bet today and also begin Perek Gimel, which is mainly comprised of the story, of course, of the Nahash, the snake. So Perek Bet, Pasuk Tet Vav, again, links are right there. If you are listening live online, and if you're listening on the recording, on our podcast, that's where we are. Perek Bet, Pasuk Tet Vav, Vayikach Adonai Elohim et ha'adam. God took Adam, Vayanichehu beGan Eden, and placed him in Gan Eden. Le'ovda ul'somra, to work it, to serve it, and to keep it, to guard it. Vayitzav Adonai Elohim ala Adam lemor. God commanded Adam, saying, Mikol etz hagan achol tochel. From all the trees in the gan, in the garden, you may eat. Ume'etz hadat tov vara, Pasuk Yud Zayin, and however, from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, lo tochal mimenu, you shall not eat from it. Ki beyom acholcha mimenu mot tamut. For the day that you do eat from it, you shall die. So let's look at Rashi. Rashi Pasuk Tetvav. It says Vayikach, and Hashem took. He took Adam. Vayikach. How he took him physically? He didn't take him physically. Kadosh Baruch Hu is no goof. No dmut haguf. There's no physicality to Hashem. So Rashi says, Lekacho bidvarim naim ufitahu likanes. He took him with nice words, and he enticed him to enter the Gan. So he convinced him. They tell him, oh, it's a nice place. If we have free membership for the first year, don't worry, it's all going to be good. So they're telling him all the beautiful things about Gan Eden. Okay, that's the only Rashi on those Pesukim. So let's go back now to the Pesukim, Pasuk Yudchet. Vayomer Adonai Elohim. God said, Lo tov heyot ha'adam levado. It is not good for man to be by himself. E'aseh lo ezer kenegdo. I will make for him an ezer, an aid, a helper, kenegdo, opposite him. We'll see what this means in Rashi. Vayitzer Adonai Elohim min Adam. God formed from the Adamah, from the land, Kol Hayat HaSadeh Ve'et Kol Of HaShamayim. All the life from the field and all the birds, the fowl in the heaven. Vayaveh El HaAdam, and he brought them to Adam, Lirot Ma'ikralo, to see what he will call them. Call it Be'Kol Asher Yikra Lo HaAdam Nefesh Chayahu Shemo. And anything that Adam called it, whatever Adam called it, he instilled in life, and that was the name. We're going to see that this pasuk doesn't make much sense. Rashi is going to switch around the words here to make sense of it. So let's look at Rashi pasuk Yudchet. Lo tov heyot vegomer. It's not good for man to be by himself. Rashi says, Shelo yomru shete reshuyot hen. So that the people should not say, mankind should not say that there are two rulers, there are two gods, chas v'shalom, that Hashem rules above and Adam rules below. HaKadosh Baruch Hu ba'elyonim, God above, yachid ve'en lo zug. God above is by himself, he doesn't have a pair. Ve'zeh b'tachtonim ve'en lo zug. And here man is by himself, he also doesn't have a pair, he doesn't have someone to be with. So therefore, so that people don't think that Adam, or I guess maybe even the animals or the fowl or whatever, see that Adam and be by himself. Maybe he's godly, like a god. So therefore, Kadosh Baruch Hu made woman. Ezer kenegdo. A helper opposite him. So Rashi here very famously says, Zacha ezer. If man is zoche, if he does things the way he's supposed to do, ezer, his wife will be a helper to him. Lo zacha, but if he lives life or does things improper in his marriage, kenegdo leilachem, the wife acts against him and just causes fights, just causes wars and arguments. So therefore, it's up to really, based on this Rashi, it's really up to man to determine how the marriage is going to continue. Is it going to flow smoothly, or God forbid, it's going to be stones and rocks and fighting and wars? We don't want that. It's up to man to be zoche or not to be zoche. Pasuk Yutet Rashi, Vayitzer min ha'adama, HaKadosh Baruch Hu formed from man, Hi yetzira, Hi asiyah hamura lemala. This is the formation and the creation that we mentioned above previously, where the Torah told us, Vayas Elohim et chayat haaretz. Elam. So why are we repeating it over here? You already told me that Kadosh Baruch Hu formed from the land all these other creatures and all the animals and the fowl. So why are you have telling me? Elaba uperesh. The pasuk's coming to explain shehaofot nivreu mina rekak, that the birds were created from the mud. Lefisha amar lemala mina mayim nivreu. Above earlier it said that they were created from water. V'chan amar min ha'adama nivreu. And in this pasuk it says that the birds were created from land, from earth. Ve'od limetcha kan. It's also teaching us here shebishat yetziratan, at the moment that they were formed, miyad bo bayom heviyam el adam likrot lahem shem. At that moment they brought all the animals and the birds to Adam to call them a name. So therefore, this pasuk is telling me that the combination of earth and water, which creates mud, that's how everybody, thank you very much, that's how these birds were created. Uvdivrei Agada, through Agadic interpretation, Rashi says, Yetzira zu leshon ridui vechibush. Formation, yet the word Yetzira can not only mean formation, but also a lashon of conquering. Kemo ki tatzur el ir, like we see in Sefer Devarim, when you come to siege a city. Shekevashan tachat yado shel Adam. Something that, so the animals were conquered under the hand of Adam. Adam rules over the animals. V'kol asher yikra lo ha'adam, nefesh chaya hu shemo. So Rashi here says, if you read these words and you try to translate the way it's read, it doesn't really make sense. So he says, sorsehu ufarshehu. You need to rearrange the words in a certain way. He does this sometimes. The Torah writes sometimes in a very strange lashon. You just got to move around the words, and this he tells you how to move it around. Kol nefesh chaya asher yikra lo adam shem. Any living being or creature that Adam called a name, hu shemo le'olam. That is the name for forever. And of course, Chachamim explained that through that name that Adam chose very, very intelligently is the essence of that creature. Okay, moving on back to the Pesukim. Pasuk Kaf. Vayikra ha'adam shemot lechol ha'be'ema u'lof ha'shamayim. So Adam called the animals and the birds names. Ulchol hayat hasadeh, and also all the beasts of the field. Adam lo matza ezer kenegdo. But Adam could not find that ezer kenegdo, this being that was going to be his mate. So what happened? Vayapel Adonai Elohim tardema al Adam vayishat. God brought upon him a deep sleep, and he fell asleep. Vayikach achat mitzalotav, and he took one from one of his sides. Vayiskor basar tachtena, and then he closed the flesh in its place where he took it from. Vayiven Adonai Elohim et hatzela asher lakach min Adam leisha, and God built from that side that he took from man leisha, for the purpose of a woman. Vayvieha el ha'adam, and he brought her to Adam. Vayomer Adam, man said, Zot ha'pa'am, this time, etze me'atzamai, ubasar mi besari. The bones are from my bones. The basar, the flesh, is from my flesh. Lezoti kare isha. This is therefore I'm going to call her isha, woman. Ki meish lukoch hazot. Because she really comes from man. Everything comes from man. The bone comes from me. The flesh comes from me. It all comes from me. Therefore, man shall leave his father and his mother as he gets older, and will cleave to his wife, and they will be like one. Last pasuk of the perek, both Adam and his wife and the woman were arumim, were naked. Ha'adam be'ishto. And they were not ashamed. This is a foretelling of what's going to happen in the next paragraph. Let's go back to Rashi. Rashi in Pasuk Kaf. Uladam lo matza ezer. Adam did not find that helper. Vayapel Adonai Elohim tardema keshehevian. When God brought the animals to Adam, hevian nefanav kol min umin zachar unekeva. He brought every species of animal, male and female. Amar, he said, lekulam yesh ben zug, veli en ben zug. So Adam saw all of them, and he said, it's not fair. Each one of the animals have a mate. There is a male and a female, and I don't have a female. It's not right. Miyad, right away, vayapel. He brought down, he threw down on Adam this tardema, this deep sleep, and then he took mitzal otav. Rashi says misetarav, from the sides. Kemo utsela hamishkan. He knows this from the building of Mishkan. Utsela hamishkan, from the side of the Mishkan. Zeu she'amarnu shene partzufim nivreu. There are two sides connected from the back. Rashi here says that there are two faces. There are two faces of that Chava was taken from. So it says that Chava was taken from the back of Adam, and her face was created from there, and then they were separated. Okay, so two sides connecting from the back. Vayisgor, and Hashem closed. Mekom hachatach, the place that he cut from. Vayishan, okay, he slept. Vayikach, and he took. Shelo yireh chatichat habasar shemimenu nivret v'titbazeh alav, so that Adam should not see the place of flesh that she was taken from, and therefore she would be repulsive to him. That's what we were worried about. If I know that you come from me and you're torn away from me, you wouldn't feel any more. It would like be repulsed, like disgusting. Move away. That's not what Hashem wanted. Vayiven, he built. It's the first time we see the word vayiven here. Normally you see vayitzed, right? What's vayiven? So Rashi says, "Kebinyan rechava milmata uksara milmala," like a building that is wide at the bottom and narrow at the top. Woman is built with that, with wider hips and more narrow at the top. Now, if there's any ladies listening to this or wherever they are, they're probably not happy with this pshat. What are you talking about? I work hard to keep myself thin. I work hard to not be wide at the bottom and narrow at the top. There's a reason why HaKadosh Baruch Hu did this. Rashi says, lekabel avalad, because the woman is housing the child. There needs to be space, sufficient space for the child to develop inside the womb and move around and eventually be born. He says, ke'otzar shel haitin, like a storehouse of wheat, shehu rachav milmata ve'katzar milmala, which is wide at the bottom, vekatzar milmala, and also a narrow or thinner at the top. Shelo yachbid masao al kilotav, whose burden should not weigh on its walls. I think there's a very big allusion or a big lesson that can be learned from this about the women. So, ladies, if you are listening to this and you weren't happy so much with this Rashi, but one thing for sure is anyone that studies physics, things that have a wider bottom versus a narrow top are much more stable. Right? You want to think on what you build. People that are carpenters, people that are very handy, they want to have a solid foundation. Ladies are the foundation of the home, right? And they're the ones that are making sure that everything is in order. They're the ones that are ensuring that the kids don't get out of hand, or the husband gets out of hand, or all the things that take place in the home. It's really up to them. So not only is there a physical attribute for the ladies that they are slightly wider at the bottom in order to hold the child that they are bearing, but more than that, they are also spiritually, emotionally, and psychologically, probably more than anything, more grounded here on earth to make sure that things stay in order. Vayiven et hatzela leisha. So here Rashi says, what's a leisha? Is a very weird leisha, liot isha, for the purpose of woman. So the meaning of the lamed in the word leisha is for the purpose of the woman. Kemo vayas oto gidon leefod, that they made it gidon leefod for the purpose of the efod, liot efod. Zot apam. So pasuk kav gimel Rashi melamed sheba adam al kol behema v'haya velo nitkarera da'ato ad sheba al chava. Wow. Big chidush Rashi here says. Rashi says that Adam Arishon actually mated with every single animal, and both the domesticated animal and wild animal. And Veloni Karera Dator, he was not satisfied until he came to Chava. So that's why he said Zotapa. Now I make sense. Lezoti Kare Isha, and I'm calling her Isha ki meish. Lashon nofel al lashon. One coincides with the other, because the idea ish and the isha come from the same root word, right? Ish and isha are very similar words. It just only one letter is different. From here we see that the world of mankind was created by Lashon HaKodesh, because ish and isha, signify or come from the same lashon. There's no other language, maybe except English, where male and female share the same root. All right, English, you have it male, female, or man, woman, but everything else is not really close. Al ken ya'azov ish ruach hakodesh omeret ken. This is the ruach hakodesh that is saying this in the future. Le'sor al bnei Noach et ha'arayot, where the children of Noach or the goyim would be prohibited to be with arayot, those that are close family members. They cannot marry their sister or their mother or that or whatnot. Le basar echad, they will be like one flesh. Havalad notzar al yedei shenehem, because the child is born through a combination of both man and woman. So it's basar echad. What you produce, when male and female produce, is one flesh. B'sham naaseh besaram echad. That's through the child. That's how they make one flesh. Velo itposhashu. So the last pasuk said that they were both naked, however they were not ashamed. Shelo hayu yod'im derech tzeniut leavchin ben tov lera, because they didn't know through tzeniut to distinguish between good and bad. Why? Because there's no yetzara. At this moment, there's no yetzara. Without a yetzara, there's no need for tzniut. What do I need tzniut for? I need tzniut so that my mind doesn't wander and I start thinking things that I shouldn't be thinking of. But what's causing me to think that? The Yetzirah is causing me to think that. But if there's no Yetzirah yet, the Yetzirah only develops now in the third parak with the start of the Nachash. If there's no Yetzirah, then what's the point of tzniut? What's the difference between exposing my face and exposing my reproductive organs? There's no difference. So that's what it is. Even though he had the de'ah to call them shemot, to call the animals names. Lo nitan bo yetzer hara ad ochlo min ha'etz. He only had the yetzer hara from the moment he ate from the tree. V'nichnas bo yetzer hara v'yadam ma ben tov le'ra. Because when he ate from that tree of the Etz Hadat, the tree of knowledge of good and evil, now he knows what's good and evil. Okay, now there's a Yetzer Hara, so I know that I need to cover my reproductive organs. And that's what we're going to see now in Perek Gimel. Moving on to Perek Gimel. Ve'anahash haya arum mikol hayat hasadeh. Asher asa Adonai Elohim. Vayomer el ha'isha, af ki amar Elohim lo tochelu mikol etz hagan. The nahash was cunning. Here, arum, here doesn't mean naked. Although arum also means naked, but it means cunning. From all the animals, all the wild beasts.
Anywhere else in Tanakh where arum means cunning?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes. Because the ayin and the aleph are also interchangeable. Mm-hmm. So Lavan ha'arami, was a cunning individual who was a sneaky individual. So we see that in many places. It's common, yes. Mikol hayat hasadeh, asher asa Adonai Elohim, that from all the animals that God made. Vayomer ha'isha, he said to the woman, Af ki amar Elohim tochelu mikol etz hagan. Did God really say, don't eat from all the trees in the gan? Vatomer ha'isha el hanachash, the woman said to the nachash, Mi peri etz hagan nochel. He said, that God said, we can eat from the fruits of the gan, no problem. Umi peri ha'etz asher betoch hagan, amar Elohim lo tochelu mimenu, velo tigeu bo, pen temutun. However, from this specific tree in the gan, although she doesn't specify the etz hadat, God said, don't eat and don't touch. Pen temutun, lest you die. Okay, so let's look at Rashi. V'hanachash haya arum. Ma inyan ze lekan. What's a connection here that we're bringing this story with the nahash? The last pasuk, hayalo lismoch vayas le'adam ulishto kotnot or vayalbishem. The next pasuk should have been that Adam made for himself and his wife clothing to cover himself. Like the last pasuk said that they were naked and they weren't ashamed. So what should have become next, okay, was the fact that Hashem made them, vayas le Adam, that Hashem made for man and his wife clothing. That's what makes most sense, to put things next to each other. The last pasuk in the previous parak is that they didn't have clothes, and God made them clothes. Ela, so why start with this whole nachash? Lelamedcha, to teach you, me'ezo siba kafatz hanachash alehem. Why the snake chose to start this whole thing. What was the whole purpose of this? Ra'a otam arumim ve'oskim betashmish le'en kol v'nit'avala. Because the snake saw them naked and engaging in intercourse in front of le'en kol, in the eyes of all, openly. Again, there was no concept of sneut. There was no good and evil. V'nit'avala. And the snake desired Hava. Arum mikol, he was cunning from all. Lefi ormato ugdulato hayta mapalto. Because of his cunningness, I don't know if that's a word, but I think it is. Because of his being cunning and his gdula, hayta mapalto. That's what brought his downfall. Arum mikol, the most cunning. Arur mikol, also the most cursed. His gedula, and as his cunning ability to use his words and convince them to do bad. That's exactly what it was. And what was his punishment? He had the snake's punishment was that he could no longer use his words. It's one of the only, I think, the only animal that they don't have a set sound to recognize that you're there. The snake only hisses. Right? It lost that ability, as brought down the Mefarshim. Af ki amar, so the snake said, did God really say you can't eat? Shema amar lachem, maybe he said to you, lo tochelu mikol, maybe he said, ve'af api shera otam ochlim misha'ar perot. He saw that Adam and Chava were eating from other fruits. Otherwise, why ask this question? Hirba alea devarim kedeshet teshivenu ve'yavo ledaber be'oto ha'etz. The reason why he even asked this question to begin with was so that he can get her to talk about the etz hadat, the tree of knowledge. That's what he was looking for. But in order to do that, he had to start the conversation. Velo tigeu bo. So this is where Chava made the mistake. Chava added this terms and conditions. You know the terms and conditions. You get it the way you sign, right? She added this. It wasn't there. Velo tigeu bo. Oh, and we're not allowed to touch it. Hosifa ala tzivui, Rashi says. She added the tzivui to the commandment. Lefichach ba lidei geraon. Therefore, she came to diminish it. Hu sheneimar al tosef al devarav. Therefore, it's always important, general lesson, not to add to anything that was not spoken about. The commandment was, don't eat. You added from it, you were diminished from it. So let's go back to the Pesukim. The snake said to the woman, Lo mot temutun. No, you're wrong. You will not die. Ki yodea Elohim, because God knows. Ki beyom acholchem mimenu, the day that you eat from this tree, v'nifkechu einechem, your eyes are going to be opened. Not physically open, but you're going to perceive different things. V'item kelohim, and you will be like angels. Yodei tov arad, who distinguish and know the difference between good and bad. Vatere haisha, so the woman saw, ki tov ha'et lema'achal, that, wow, that fruit looked really good. V'chitavahu la'enayim, and again it was drawing her attention. V'nechmad ha'etz la'askil, and the tree had the ability to make one wise. Vatikach mipiryo v'tochal, vatiten gam leisha ima v'yochal, and she took from the fruit and she ate it, and she gave to her husband, and he ate it. Vatipakachna ene shenehem. Let's do Rashi. Lo motemutun, you will not die. Rashi says dechafa ad shenagabo. The snake pushed her against a tree until she touched it. Amar la, he said to Chava, Keshem she'en mita b'negi'ah, kach en mita b'achila. The fact that you didn't die by touching it, you're not going to die by eating it too. Ki yodea. The reason why God didn't want you to eat it, ki yodea, because He knows that someone who eats it will become angelic. Kol uman soned b'nei umanuto. Every craftsman hates their apprentice. Big statement here by Rashi, but also a very moral lesson. Every craftsman hates the apprentice. I'm training you, but I don't want you to become like me. I'll train you, but I'm still going to be on top. You're never going to outdo me. And if he does, then it instills jealousy in the person. So that's what the snake was trying to say. God doesn't want you to eat because you're going to become godly. That's why He doesn't want you to eat. You know how God even created the world? The snake told Chava, He ate from the tree. God Himself ate from the tree. And He created the world. And that's what He doesn't want you to do. V'item kelohim, and you will be angelic like angels. Yotzrei olamot, also you'll be able to create worlds. Vatere Aisha, the woman saw, Ra'ata devarav shel nahash, she saw the words of the nahash, vehin'u la be'eminatu, and it appealed to her. Ki tov ha'etz, that this tree was good, liot kelohim, to cause him to be like gods. V'chita'avahu la'enayim, and it was a desire, it was a ta'ava for her eyes. Kemo she'amar la v'nifkechu enechem, that's why it said that their eyes opened. V'nechmad ha'etz la'askil, kemo she'amar la yodei tov hara. Now they had the ability to distinguish between the good and bad. Vatiten gam le'isha, and she gave also to her husband, shelo tamut hi, wow. Rashi says, unreal. Why did she give to Adam? Why did she give to Adam? She gave to Adam because if I die, I don't want him to be by himself. If this is really going to kill me, I'm not the only one falling. If I'm falling, you're falling with me. Because if I die alone, then you're going to go marry somebody else. That's not happening. Gam lerabot behema bechaya. Also, she also gave the animals and the hayot to eat, to eat as well. All right? Of the animals, because humans can't be worse than animals.
So the
animals ate as well. If we die, so will they. So will Adam. She gave it to everybody. So she brought death to the world, to mamash everyone. It wasn't just herself. Okay, I think that leads us to our 30 minutes. We weren't going to finish the story anyways. We're halfway there, and we will continue the story the next time we resume the shiur. We're moving on now to the Mishnah Berurah in Siman Gimel in Shulhan Aruch Orach Hayim. Again, there is a link next in the chat for those listening online. Again, for those that are listening on our podcast, findingholiness.com, you will find it in the Shulchan Aruch, Mishnah Berurah. We're on Siman Gimel. Siman Gimel. Siman Gimel, Hanhagat Bet HaKiseh. The behavior, the conduct that a person should have in the bathroom. Yes, Rabotai, there are laws on how to conduct yourself in the bathroom. This is what makes Judaism unique, special, and holy. That even in the most unholy places, there are laws on how to conduct ourselves. So, let us begin. Siman Gimel. The first halakha is actually a halakha that is not much applicable, and in fact, the Shulhan Aruch tells us it's not applicable. It says, "Kesheikanes lebet hakiseh," when a person enters the bet hakiseh, the bet hakiseh is the bathroom. Now, it is a bathroom, not a shower. Back then, it was just a place where people relieved themselves. Okay? A lot of times this was public places. A lot of times it was even in the field, whatever it was. But we're going to talk about all that. But when a person enters the bet hakiseh, they used to say this paragraph, "Hitkabdu mechubadim," give honor. He says, "Ve'achshav lo nagu leomro." It's not our custom to say whatever this statement was. So honor to Hakadosh Baruch Hu, honor to the body. It was not something that is now practiced. So we're just gonna. So let's just look at the Mishnah Berurah at the bottom. Ve'achshav ki en anu muchsakim le'yirei shamayim shemalachim melavim otanu. All right. So basically, that we are not at such a lofty level in terms of our fear of heaven that we have angels accompanying us to the bathroom. Right? This is what the statement was. It's just not there. Now, Ben Ish Chai actually says something. That's a good question. He said, "What are you talking about? Don't angels accompany us every Shabbat, every Friday night? Shalom Aleichem. Isn't that what we say? Shalom Aleichem. Who's Shalom Aleichem for? Shalom Aleichem is for the angels. So how can we say that the angels are not accompanying us? The answer is because when the angels come on Friday night, they're not coming for our honor. They're coming for the honor of Shabbat, coming for the Lichvot Shabbat, which is much higher than us. And when the Chachamim used to say this, it was entering the bathroom and accompanying the people were on such a lofty level that they were literally walking with angels. All right, but nowadays we're not on that level.
Go to the washroom on Shabbat.
Oh yeah, good one. They go to the bathroom right before Kiddush, I guess, right? So we're not on that level that we will just request for them to wait for us. Wait for us over here until we come out of the bathroom. We're not there yet. Okay. Halacha bet, a little more not appropriate, applicable things. Yehet tzanua bebet hakiseh. A person needs to be tzanua, private, covered in the bathroom. Velo yegale atzmo ad sheyeshev. He should not reveal himself, he should not undress himself until he sits down. Says the Ramah Haga, Velo yelchu shnei anashim beyahad. Two people should not enter the bathroom together. Gam lo yidaber sham. As well, top of the page 9, as well, they shouldn't speak in the bathroom. Ve'isgor adelet ba'ado mishum seniut. And you have to make sure the door is closed for tzniut purposes. Let's go back to the bottom of page 12. The Mishnah Berurah, Allah Chabed, Ad Sheyeshev. We said, do not reveal yourself until you sit down. Vehu adin, shelo yakum shu megule. Also, when you get up, when you're finished going to the bathroom, don't get up exposing yourself. Meaning, you have to cover yourself as soon as you get up. Velo yelchu. We said we don't go two at a time. Ve'im mefahed. But if you're scared. Back then, the bathrooms were in their strange places, and people come and who knows what they do to you. So, yachol echad le'aniach yado ad rosho derech ha'halon. He said, you can have somebody through the window, like put your hand on your head while in the bathroom to make sure, don't worry, I'm here for you. Ubilvad shelo yireh pero'o. As long as the guy through the window doesn't see your nakedness. Ukidil kaman b'sa'if chet. We're going to see later on in halacha chet. B'likanes sham lehedya. Asur afilu imishto, but to enter the bathroom, just entering the bathroom for no reason, and for sure naked, even with his wife, you can't do. Achim katan she'en bodat mutar likanes. However, if you enter with a child, the bathroom naked or whatever, with a child that has no dat, so it's very, very small, it's fine. And the Ben Ish Chai writes over here also, by the way, we should train children that the bathroom is a place that is private. Right? From a young age. No, we're going to the bathroom now. You're not following me into the bathroom. That's not right. You wait outside till Abba's finished, till Ima's done. Lo yidaber. You shall not speak. You should not speak. Why can't we speak? Some say it's because of Sidniyut. Some say so that Shadim don't enter. Because a bathroom is a very impure place, and it's prone to have demons and Shadim. Once you start talking, Shadim are going to wake up. Chaim Kamenetsky says this doesn't apply when you're entering the bathroom to fix yourself up. You're looking in the mirror, comb your hair. Some people will shave, whatever. They're just going in there to tighten up your tie, make sure you look good for Shabbat. It doesn't apply. Anyway, Lo yidaber says Mishnah Berurah. If for important reason, tzorech gadol, great need, you can talk as long as you didn't defecate yet. So as long as you didn't poo yet, then you're okay. But when you're actually in the process of defecating, af letzorech gadol asur. Even for a great need, asur, can't talk while you're on the stool. If it was impossible for you to close the door and somebody else wants to come in, you should grunt, make a sound, right? But don't talk. Make a sound that he will get and know not to come in. Only the women who go to the set bathrooms that was meant for public use, like they had bathrooms in the field in those days. Again, it was not toilets, right? It was just like holes in the ground. Or in the courtyards of the synagogues, that in these, he's speaking in his times, then rabbis established that they should talk to each other, so that people hear ladies' voices. And so that man doesn't come in and be now Yehud. He's secluding himself with the woman. This is not good. So Dafka, the Chachamim said, talk. Ladies, you can talk. You can talk because we don't want people going in. And we see from here that they even went in multiple people at a time. Okay. Halacha Gimel. Im rotze למשמש בפי הטבעת, בצרור או בקיסם, לפתוח נקביו. If a person wishes to use a stone or a kesam or a piece of wood to open up his bowels. So if someone's bowels were closed, they used to take a stone, fiddle around with his bowels right there, and massaging the bowels would cause massaging the area would cause the bowels to open up to allow you to go to the bathroom more easily. If you want to do that, yemashmesh kodem sheyeshev, you shall do that before you sit down. Velo yemashmesh achar sheyeshev. Don't do that after you sit down. Mipnei shekashe lichshafim. This is not good for witchcraft. Very dangerous against spirits over there. They don't like that. Again, the bathroom is a very impure place. You got shadim, you got keshafim. If you're going to do that, do it before you sit down. Let's look at Mishnah Berurah, lemashmesh. Imeno yachol lipanot. He gives you other advice. What to do if you can't go to the bathroom. Yelech arba amot v'yeshev. Walk 4 amot, that's walk 2 meters and sit down. V'ya amot, stand up. V'yeshev, and sit down. Ad sheipane. Keep on doing that. 4 meters, stand up, sit down. Stand up, sit down. 4 meters, stand up. Keep on doing that until you go to the bathroom. O yasiach dato midvarim acherim. Or stop thinking about things that are bothering you. So Mishnah Berurah is actually saying anxiety, worry, is a cause for constipation, right? Yasiach dato midvarim acherim. Focus on what you got to go to the bathroom. Focus on going to the bathroom. You'll go to the bathroom. V'lo yipaneh ba'amida. And don't go to the bathroom while standing. That's just not right. You have to sit down.
Like urinals?
No. This is yipaneh defecating. Number 2. So don't do it while standing. I actually find and I've read that dafka, when a person is nervous is different than anxious. When a person is nervous, I read, it helps him go to the bathroom. You're nervous, you don't know, you gotta go to the bathroom. You feel stomach pains, you gotta go to the bathroom when you're nervous. I guess, but when you're thinking of other things, you have too many things on your mind, then that refrain helps a person, unfortunately, not go to the bathroom. You take your mind off that. Okay, let's go back to Mishnah Berurah. Let's go back to Halacha. Halacha Dalet, Sif Dalet. Lo yigale atzmo ki milacharav tefach umilanav tefachim. Now, when revealing yourself, meaning you're pulling down your pants, or back then you're lifting up your jalaba, okay, don't reveal from behind, the part from behind, one tefach, that's the size of a fist, umilfanav, in front of you, tefachim, 2 tefachim. That's the maximum. The isha, and a woman, me'acharei tefach umilfanea lo klum. A woman, only in the back tefach, in front of her nothing. She can't reveal anything in the front. Okay, so let's look at Mishnah Berurah. So tefach, velo yoter, not more than a tefach from behind, mishum seniut, because of seniut.
Are we talking about being alone in the water?
Even in alone, you can only be alone in the bathroom. Yeah, I know. This is. We live in a society today where if I'm in the bathroom, I can do what I want. Let me walk around, totally free. That's not how it works. No, this is even a communal bathroom. I'm saying even a communal bathroom, but even when by yourself, right? We're going to talk about that. He's going to bring it down. No, only a tefach in the back, and for men, 2 tefachim in front, as we're going to see why, and ladies, nothing in the front. So let's see. Why am I allowed 2 in the front? In front of me, 2 tefachim. Because when a person is pushing to get number 2 out, sometimes it'll cause him to urinate with the stress that he's putting to go to the bathroom. So he refers it to gedolim, the big, which is number 2, and ketanim, the small, which is number 1. And you need 2 tefach, about 20 centimeters, for the flow of urine that can come out as a result. Vehabach katav, the Bach writes, tenachon leachmir, we should be strict, sheyeh gam milefanav rak tefach. So you should be strict, and even at the front you should only do 1. Velo iskimu imo arbe aharonim, but many of the aharonim didn't agree with the Bach there. You're allowed 2. At the same time, you got to make sure you don't dirty your clothing or your body or your shoes that you're wearing with urine, or as well, or with the other stuff. Okay, moving on to halacha hey. If a person goes to the bathroom, he defecates in an open area where it doesn't have partitions, he should make sure that his face is facing south and his back is north, or ibcha, or the opposite. Basically north or south. That's the direction that you should be standing. Aval ben mizrach le'ma'arav asur. But east and west, asur, prohibited. Ulhatil ma'im b'kol inyan shari. But to urinate, you can go in any direction, says the Rama. Okay, let's look at...
What does that mean?
Facing.
I have to face...
You're in the field, okay? You're in the field. You're in an open area. There's no mechitzot, no partition separating you, blocking you from other people. Yeah. So you're in a way in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu type of thing, right? Okay, yeah, Hashem knows where you are at all times, but this is really in the open. So Mishnah Berurah is going to talk about it. That you want to at least face north-south, because we're going to see that the Shekhinah situates itself in the west. Oh. Okay? Situates itself in the west, and the east is towards Yerushalayim. So that direction is never good. Okay? So north and south is the direction that you want to face.
But we're not careful to build houses with, or in the shuls, we're not careful to build that the washrooms are facing north.
No, because we have mechitzot in these bathrooms. We have partitions, right? The only thing that we have, and we're gonna learn about it, is when you set up your bed, the bed should be in a certain direction as well. Again, we're gonna get to that when the time comes. Yeah, no, good? Yeah. Okay, so let's look at the Mishnah Berurah. The Mishnah Berurah, Sif Katan Zayin, Halacha Hey, Megule. Okay, if you're a place that it's revealed, open, exposed, Aval bechaser bechol inyan shari. Because if you're in a courtyard, it's fine. Courtyard has walls around the courtyard, right? Or you're in your backyard. If you're defecating in your backyard, you have a fence. No one sees you. It doesn't matter what direction you're facing. Ken katfu Bet Yosef Magen Abraham. This is what the Bet Yosef and the Magen Abraham writes. Aval ataz, the Taz, he scheming Mari Abuhav. He agrees with the Mari Abu Hab, the bechatzer, in the courtyard, gam ken asur be'emsa chatzer, ben mizrach le'ma'arav. If you're in the middle of a courtyard, then that's not really called partitions, because you have a fence. You have a massive backyard, you have a 2-acre backyard that's fenced, but you're standing in the middle. That doesn't mean that there's partitions. So that's why the Taz says, yeah, you're in the open, you're in the middle of the chatzer, you're in the open, you have to worry about the east-west. He's clearly revealed in that place. He's exposed. Unless he moves and backs himself into like near a wall. Okay? This is a big room right here. Okay? There's got 4 walls. This was our courtyard. The guy stands in the middle. He's not protected by any partitions. So he has to worry about the east-west. But what he could do is move towards one wall. Okay? If I move towards one wall, then I'm okay. I'm next to a partition. V'chen katvu derisha. This is what's written in the derisha as well. She'en bo mechitzot. Siv katan chet. Aval im yesh bo mechitzot. But if there is partitions, va'afilu rak mechitza achad letzad ma'arav. Even if you have one partition on the west, yeshev betzad ha'mechitza besamuch la. You should sit right near that partition, right against it. Dehainu al kol panim betoch daled amot. At least within 2 meters, 4 amot. Ve'achorav le'ma'arav. And you're back to the west. Klapei ha'mechitza v'nifneh sham. And then that's where you should defecate. And also, imakotel b'mizrach, if the wall's on the east, yoshev besamuch la b'achorav le'mizrach, you should sit close to the wall and put your back to the east. V'yesh machmirin bazeh, there are those that are more machmir, mipnei sheperu'o shefanav letzad ma'arav v'ashechina b'ma'arav. It says, if you put your back to the east, that means you're exposing yourself to the west. And that's not good because the Shekhinah is in the west. That's why, by the way, that we bury people. When we bury, the feet face west. All right, because the feet when they on Techiyat Hametim, it's going to be towards the Shekhinah. Ubemakom she'efshar tov la'achmir. So he says wherever it's bad, if you can be mahmir, be mahmir. Meaning try to not face west. That's what he's trying to tell you. Katava pri megadim de'en shiur legova mechitza. There is really no minimum height for this mechitza. Rakol she'en peruah megula yedeh shari. As long as your private parts are not exposed, okay, meaning you're blocked up somewhat, then you're okay. O ipcha. So we said north or south. Or opposite. So Mishnah Berurah brings an opinion that really you should try to have your face to the south and your back to the north. And even though the Shulchan Aruch says the opposite is okay, he says we should try not to do that. But ben mizrach le'ma'arav asur. Why? Mishum sha'shechina shora b'ma'arav. Because again, like he said, the God's presence is found in the west. Va'afilu imachazir panav le'ma'arav asur. And even if he puts his face towards the west, asur, the mizrach shu neged ma'arav yesho gam ken kedusha. Because even the mizrach has kedusha. So okay, so you think you're going to be smart? I'm not facing the west. I'm going to face the east. You have the kedusha, you have the Yerushalayim, you have Eretz Israel, you have the Aron HaKodesh, you have everything in the east. No, that's also no good. Ben mizrach le'ma'arav rak yechaven shi'er rosha shel hamita letzafon u'margelotea ledarom. So this is what I was telling you, that when you have your bed, you should make sure that the head of the bed is to the north and the feet of the bed are to the south. U'bitshuvat Menachem Azariah pasak, and in the response of Menachem Azariah he writes, Kemo shekatav Azor parashat Bamidbar, shi'er rosha u'margelotea shel hamita zeh le'mizrach v'zeh le'ma'arav. He writes differently, that it should be east and west. And there he writes that the head of the bed should be west. And so it's written in Artzot HaChaim. But he said, even though there's this response that you're allowed to do east and west, nevertheless, he said we should follow the Shulchan Aruch, who says that south and north is better, north and south. כי בתשובת בניין של שמחה כתב בשם הגר"א שאמר שגם כוונת הזוהר הוא שהגמרא ולא קברו של רבי מנחם עזריה. And then really according to Kabbalah that's what we should follow, and our bed should be north and south. The problem is nowadays that that we have homes that are pre-built, okay, and your rooms are built in certain areas, and sometimes you can't orient your bed in a way that faces north and south, and it's difficult. It's difficult. Right? My room is a narrow room that faces east-west. What am I supposed to do? So that situation, got no choice. Got no choice.
Does it matter if the head's at the north or the south?
Well, yeah, it says that the head should be the north part. Yes, yeah, and the feet to the south. Afilu keshe'en. So we said even. Oh wait, sorry. This is Yud Bet. Oh, sorry. We didn't do a certain halacha. We jumped to halacha. Okay, I'm sorry. Let's do halacha vav. V'chen asur lishon. Okay, yeah, we should have said the halacha first. V'chen asur lishon ber mizrach lemarav im ishto imo. Also, too, you're not allowed to sleep facing east and west with your wife, even with your wife with you. V'nachon leizaher afilu kashen ishto imo. And you should really try, even when your wife's not with you. So for sure, when your wife's with you, you shouldn't do it, and even when your wife's not with you. So let's go Yud Bet at the bottom. Mishnah Berurah. Afilu kashen ishto imo. Ayen be'atzot ha'chaim. He says you only have to worry about this when you sleep naked, or if there's no drapery around the beds. So technically nowadays we have sheets, and we have sheets on top of us, and most people don't sleep naked. So he said that according to the Artzot HaChaim, the Sefer, that you don't have to be mahmir. Now, it seems to be that he's only talking about in a case when his wife is not with him. But even when his wife's with him, then like we said, even if he's wearing clothes, even if there is drapery around the bed, it poses a problem. All right. Moving on to halacha zayin. Hametil mayim minatzofim velifnim. Someone who is urinating and he is facing from Har Tzofim. Har Tzofim is a mountain in Yerushalayim. That's called the mountain of view. All right? And he says, Perush makom shecholim liot misham har habayit. You can see from this mountain. It's called Mount Scopus. Sorry, that's the name, the official name, Mount Scopus. You could scope Jerusalem. You can see Sham har habayit. But from that point on, further than that mountain, you can't see Yerushalayim anymore. So now a person that is urinating on that mountain, okay, lo yeshev upanav klape kodesh. He shouldn't be facing the Bet HaMikdash or whatever, the Har HaBayit. If you happen to be urinating on that mountain, don't face the Har HaBayit. Ela letzafon ledarom, either face north or south. I guess north or south won't be facing the mountain. Or yesalek hakodesh lisadin, or at least turn aside, turn around so you don't do that. Okay. So lo yeshev upanav ken tzarich lomar tazu sharei chanim. Okay, fine. Ela letzafon vehu adin imachorav klape hakodesh sharei be'atalad meraglayim. It's the same law. If your back is towards the Har HaBayit, you're allowed to urinate. You're allowed to urinate. Go look into the Gra, Sheiskim, who agrees. Next page, velachutz, and outside, if your face is directed towards Yerushalayim, Har HaBayit, even if you're further than the Har Tzofim, not allowed. Similarly, you cannot defecate facing a Bet Knesset or a Bet Midrash. So you're not said amongst those that their backs are towards Echal Hashem. It's not kavod. What kavod is that to defecate in front of a synagogue and a Bet Midrash? You shouldn't build a bathroom or Bet HaKiseh facing the synagogue. So that you don't have a person's bowels facing a synagogue. But if a person builds a wall separating the Bet HaKiseh and the Bet HaKnesset, you don't have to be machmir. How are we doing on time? Let's do one more. One more halacha. Kishenifne basadeh, if a person is defecating in a field, imhu achorei agader, if he is behind a fence, yipaneh miyad, go to the bathroom right away. Uba bik'ah, but if he is in a valley, yitrachek ad hamakom shelo yuchal chavero lirot peru'o. But if he's in an area that is open, a valley that people can see, you have to walk as far as you need to, so that your friend should not see your exposed private parts. That's halacha chet. So let's look at Mishnah Berurah. Yipaneh miyad, teha en chavero ro'et peru'o. You have a fence, but in the field, you go right by the fence, because this way your friend's not going to see you, your nakedness. Same thing with a courtyard that is behind or behind the wall in the courtyard of your house. It's a little descriptive here. Even though your friend hears you passing gas, when you go to the bathroom, you make sounds. There's bodily sounds that are happening. En bekach klum. He says that sound is nothing to be worried about. Shebeashmat kol aitu shel mata, passing gas from below, en bo isum mishum tzniut. There's no prohibition for tzniut for that. Ela shehi cherpa ubusha livnei adam. It's just embarrassing for the person. It's embarrassing for the person passing gas. Umi she'eno makpid, eno makpid. The guy who's not makpid, okay, not makpid. He's in a field. He's in an area that's behind a fence. Okay, so he's not makpid. We said that if he's in an open area or in a valley or whatever, he has to go as far as he can so that his friend doesn't see his peru'o, his exposed parts. What's revealed? What is revealed in front of him or behind him. Even though he might see his body, even though he might hear the kol itush, the sound of the passing gas, shari, he is allowed. Let's do one more halacha tet. There's no Mishnah Berurah, and then we'll continue next time halacha yud. Halacha tet, lo yeshev bimhera uvchozek. A person should not sit down to defecate quickly, ubechozek, and push hard. Velo ye'enos litchok atzmo yoter midai, or push so hard, shelo yinatek shinei karkashta, so that he doesn't cut or ruin the muscles that allow the number two, the feces, to come out of the body. Of course, a person that pushes too hard, it could be very damaging. It could lead to hemorrhoids, as we know that as well. Okay, and it could be damaging to the body. So when you have to go to the bathroom, make sure that you have to go. Don't push it, because if you do, God forbid, it can cause some serious bodily harm, and we don't want that. Again, for those of us that came tonight, thank you for joining. For those of us that are online, we are taking a 2-week break. We'll meet after Chanukah. Wishing everybody a wonderful night.